proving that much of government, no matter how dry it may seem, still works like a good television show and often drags out the climax until the bitter end. No decision from the Supreme Court Monday regarding Obamacare, but that is not the one and only major ruling. The free world awaits. A possible rejection of gay marriage looms, bringing with it what many believe will be utter chaos if such decisions are left solely to the states. We're joined by George Mason University law professor with an expertise on constitutional law, also author of The Once and Future King, The Rise of Crown Government in America. Welcome Frank Buckley back to the Hardline. Frank, pleasure to have you back on the show, and I think I'm going to start right there with a couple of words regarding gay marriage. And here's the words I've heard. Defeat would bring legal pandemonium. Do you agree?
That's just nonsense, Ed. And by the way, thanks for having me. Now, I think if what they mean by defeat is turning it over to the states, that'd be the best possible outcome.
But then why is there that thinking?
I think that's an outcome that would dial back the culture wars, and I think we really need that. I think we need to lower the temperature a whole lot, and that would do it. I mean, what would happen is if you're in a state that recognizes same-sex marriage, you know, life is fine, and if you're a state that doesn't, and you get married in another state, well, then the first state would have to recognize the same-sex marriage. So how bad is that?
Well, let's talk about that dialing back a little bit, because it would seem that at this point what everybody is waiting on regarding gay marriage is what Justice Anthony Kennedy is going to do. And there's a tremendous amount of little words out there, little phrases that he's made that make people believe exactly how he would vote. For instance, he made two comments during the arguments in April saying that the definition of marriage had been with us for millennia, and whether the High Court should create a new definition and say that we know better. Do you think that any of this said in April can be brought forward and used to give us at least an idea where he might go?
Well, there are two things that tend to motivate Anthony Kennedy in his decisions, and one is a respect for the dignity of individuals, which might point in the direction of gay marriage, or not, and the other is federalism. And I think I'd like to predict that federalism is going to rule the day with him. Why? Because I think the dignity issue cuts both ways. I mean, this is one of those horrible cultural war issues where it's a zero-sum game. Somebody loses, somebody wins, and there's a way of treating this in a way that's really productive of a dialogue and doesn't amount to total victory for everybody. And I think that's what we should be looking for. You see, the problem is at this point, a victory for the gay marriage folks means a significant movement towards a country riven between, well, traditional parties and an anti-clerical party. I mean, we haven't seen in America an anti-clerical party. We think of that in terms of France, where people run against churches. Right now, you've got a bunch of people, I think, kind of rubbing their hands at the prospect of a gay marriage victory for them, just thinking, boy, how can we use this to attack this individual or that institution or that college or that church? And it's going to be, that will be absolute chaos. That will bring a ton of litigation.
Frank, with regard to waiting for Obamacare as well, I mean, literally, there's people that I've talked to that are just really sitting on pins and needles. The administration's sitting there as well. This is something that causes chaos in the minds of many. Do you think it will be as bad as the Democrats maybe want, because they want it to go against the right, and GOP fears because they fear that they're going to be blamed for it when everything falls apart?
I think you're right, Ed. I think actually that if Obamacare is struck down, the Republicans are going to be blamed. I don't think, mind you, it's going to be struck down. I think what we'll see roughly is a replay of the Obamacare decision of 2 years back, where John Roberts got out the pneumatic lifts, pumps, and rescued Obamacare with a very strained reading of the statute. And here I think he'll do the same again. I mean, that's his method of operation, and everything points towards a repeat of that. I mean, he'll have to take a less than technical read of the statute, but that's not hard for him to do. That's been his history.
About a minute or so that I have left, Frank, do you think that if indeed the Republicans get their way with Obamacare, that they will be smart enough and ready enough to have something there that will at least kind of ease the pain for the rest of America?
Yeah, and I expect it to be promptly vetoed by the president, whatever it might be, whatever it'll be.
But he will then be doing that just to go ahead and basically pay back. Here we go. It's a payback. You did this, you did this, you did this, and we're still going to be left without any proper health care. It's going to go on for years.
That's right.
Gee, Frank, I think we've now just taken everybody out there and we've actually made them even feel worse about the possibility of all this. 15 seconds I got left. They're saying maybe Thursday for these decisions. Do you think that they've actually been made? They're just waiting to get them out on the last day. Everything's been done, basically, right?
Yeah, we're going to see it Thursday around 10 or 10:30 and Monday next at about the same time. We can twiddle our thumbs until then and see what's going to happen.
We will not twiddle. We will just wait until Thursday then and have you back, and we'll talk about it then. I want to remind everybody that your book is called The Once and Future King, The Rise of Crown Government in America. We wait for the rise of the Supreme Court come Thursday. Frank, always a pleasure, my friend. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you so much.
All right, take care. Coming up next, telling it like it is in the case for immediate execution of the South Carolina killer.